In 586 BC, the kingdom of Judah was systematically dismantled. Invading Babylonian armies breached Jerusalem's walls, destroying the city for 7 decades. This displacement threatened more than just their borders. Without a king, a capital, or a central site for worship, the Israelites faced the very real danger of their national and religious identity dissolving into the culture of their captors. In 539 BC, the regional order broke. Cyrus the Great of Persia marched into Babylon, assuming control of the city and its vast territories. In his first year, Cyrus issued an official imperial decree. He declared that the God of heaven had charged him to build a house at Jerusalem and invited the exiles to return and begin the reconstruction. Responding to this decree was a massive risk. To rebuild, the exiles had to abandon established lives in Babylon to move back to a devastated wasteland. Despite the uncertainty, a first wave of 42,000 exiles made the trek back to Judah. They were led by Zerubbabel, an heir to the Davidic throne who had been preserved in exile. Once they reached Jerusalem, the people focused immediately on the ruins. When they finally laid the foundation for the new temple, the priests and workers erupted in a celebration of praise. But the joy was mixed with grief. Those who were old enough to remember the scale and gold of Solomon's temple looked at these modest foundations and wept at the comparison. As work began, the local Samaritans offered to join the effort. Zerubbabel rejected them, refusing to compromise the project's religious integrity by partnering with those who did not share their specific devotion to the God of Israel. This rejection created a bitter rivalry. The Samaritans launched a campaign of bribery and political interference, successfully stalling the construction and creating a 16-year delay. The project sat unfinished until the prophets Haggai and Zechariah intervened. They preached with enough conviction to move the spirit of the people, reinvigorating the workers to pick up their tools again. Political momentum followed. King Darius discovered the original decree in the archives and reaffirmed it, providing the official protection and funding needed to complete the work. By 516 BC, the temple was finished and dedicated. It stood as proof that physical perseverance and imperial backing could overcome even the most relentless local sabotage. But the story does not end there. The narrative now scrubs rapidly forward 80 years, jumping from the temple's completion to 458 BC. During this long silence, the temple remained standing, but the community's devotion eroded. The people were physically back in the land, but they were drifting away from the laws that defined them. It became clear that the stones of the temple and the walls of the city were not enough to anchor the community if their own internal convictions were failing. This is where Ezra enters the narrative. A priest and a scribe skilled in the law of Moses, he arrived from Babylon with the authority of the king to teach the scriptures and reorganize the community. Ezra expected to find a restored nation, but instead he found a crisis. The exiles, including the priests and Levites, had intermarried with the surrounding pagan tribes, ignoring the commands that were supposed to keep them separate. This was the same spiritual compromise that had led to their ancestors' destruction generations earlier. By repeating these patterns, the community was inviting the same judgment they had only just escaped. Ezra didn't respond with a legal decree. Instead, he tore his garments and fell to his knees in public despair, leading the people in a weeping prayer of repentance. His grief moved the crowd. The people voluntarily came forward, taking an oath to dissolve those marriages and strictly recommit themselves to the law of Moses. The story of Ezra shows that national restoration requires 2 parallel efforts: the physical grit to rebuild the house and the spiritual devotion to rebuild the people.